Okay, so let's get started, and any late arrivals can join the webinar at their leisure. First of all, I'm John Owens. I'm a franchise consultant and a franchise specialist. And the webinar today, as I said, will be approximately 30 minutes. And I really want to talk about a plan B. What is a plan B for your future, whether it's in corporate America or otherwise? But the focus today will be about looking at potential plan Bs for you. So a little bit about me. I've been developing and leading both domestic and international operations, franchise and corporate-owned businesses for a long time. Worked for major corporations, as you can see from the slide. And in 2002, moved to Atlanta and purchased a specialized transportation company. And what that means in terms of specialization is we moved a lot of high-value items, human tissue, and so on and so forth. And then I have been a franchise consultant for 13 years. I've helped a lot of people become entrepreneurs. And as you can see, I have a family. I'm also a pilot. So for those that are not fully aware of what a franchise is, it's basically a proven business model with established systems, operations, and processes based on actual operating results. A little bit of background to that, as you may or may not know, that franchising is highly regulated. For example, each year, franchisors have to produce what's known as a franchise disclosure document, and that franchise disclosure document has to be done by state, and it includes the financial performance of the overall company, and it also includes examples of performances by their franchise network. So basically, when you purchase a franchise, you're purchasing a model that actually works. It's an asset. You're in a partnership. It's not a situation whereby you're granted a franchise. It's very much the case that you're going to work with the franchisor, and the franchisor is going to help you through the process of developing your business, from training to marketing and ongoing support. And the process of reviewing franchises is quite extensive. It takes a number of months from the time you start talking to a brand to the time that you'll end up at a visitation, a discovery visit, and at that point you meet the people and you may decide to go forward or not. And the goal really from both sides is to get the right partner, in the partner for you, the client, and also for the franchisor. They have, not only a proven validated system, but it's a business that if you look at it in more detail, 95% of franchise businesses are still in business after 5 years. That is certainly not the case for other businesses. So the road is set for you to follow. So let's look at the various models. And I want to talk a little bit more about this later on. The question here is time versus money. So you could be an absentee owner, and that's going to cost you more, but you'd hire a general manager, an assistant manager, and employees. Show up every now and then. Semi-absentee, and I've got a lot of clients in this area right now looking at this. Semi-absentee, you are the general manager and have an assistant manager as your eyes and ears. Maybe you go visit, for a few hours a week. And then we have the executive ownership, where you do everything, head cook and bottle washer. And so the benefit here of being a semi-absentee owner is that you could continue to, in your corporate position, whilst building a business, if you like, on the side. Again, I'm going to come back to that in a little bit more detail in a minute. Let's look at the overall business. Franchising creates 2.1 trillion in economic output for the US economy. It produces 18 million jobs, and there are over 800,000 franchise establishments in the USA, and there are over 3,000 franchise brands. When you think about it, and when you're out there driving and you see a car dealership, whether it's Ford or Mitsubishi or Toyota, they're all franchised. That's a franchise type operation. And it's very much a partnership with the franchisor. So let's look at some additional stats. According to the US Business Formation Statistics, there were more than 4.4 million new business applications filed in 2020, a 26.9% increase over 2019. We as an organization, the Franchise Consulting Company, and we are the largest in the field globally, saw a significant increase because more and more people are saying we need to take control of our destiny and our future. So the business growth that took place in 2020 looks like it's continuing to 2021. The International Franchise Association estimates over 26,000 franchise locations will be added in 2021. That's 10%. So of that, the new jobs will come in retail, foods, and the service sector. So the time is now for a plan B. Just to think about, you may well be, and I'm going to quote one of my clients, actually two of my clients are saying this right now, they're fed up with working for the man. Give you an example, a gentleman who's been let go. He's a very smart individual, he's been let go 3 times. And right now he is looking for a corporate job, but he's at an advanced stage of purchasing a tutoring franchise that will run as a semi-absentee business with him and his sister running that business. And he sees it growing, and eventually he wants to move to it 100%. So franchise ownership is more viable than ever. The timeline of business development complements the timeline for economic recovery, and many industry businesses are not affected, but instead are booming. It's surprising that in the food retail sector, there's an awful lot of franchise businesses that have done very well in 2020 and saw significant growth over 2021. Why? Because they were doing curbside deliveries and also drive-through. This is not necessarily fast food. So there's a pent-up demand for many businesses after being closed or having restrictions, and it's huge. People are ready to get back to normal. So commercial real estate availability is much stronger at the moment, allowing for lower lease rates and better location. Curbside availability will give restaurants greater flexibility. And in fact, many restaurant organizations are much happier with it because it allows them to keep their staff numbers down. So recession-proof businesses such as cleaning, technology, healthcare, repair service, and automotive are strong. And a strong stock market creates investment opportunities for many. However, many clients that we're seeing now, and we're enjoying some pretty significant growth, are looking at inflation hedges. We're seeing commodity prices increasing, we're seeing gas prices increasing, and even wood. And if you've recently gone to Home Depot or Lowe's, you will clearly see that the cost of wood, if it's available, is significantly higher than it was a year ago. So now's the time to do something. Inflation, as I've touched on, is very much on the way. Invest now, and it will have less of an impact later. So let's look at industries that are doing well at the moment. Automotive, consulting, and coming back to automotive for a moment, I don't know whether you're aware, but the average age of vehicles on the road in the United States is now at 12 years. And of course, there's the talk of electric motor vehicles growing. That share of the market is very small and will not grow significantly for a long, long time. So automotive is still growing, and we've got a number of opportunities in that area. And by the way, we as an organization have several hundred franchises. Consulting is an area where a lot of clients are looking at because it allows them to work from home and with a very low overhead. And then home improvements. A lot of people are looking at home improvements simply because, whilst they've been home with COVID restrictions, they've been looking to do things. Clean eating is very big. Digital marketing, that seems to be growing very fast. Repair services, cleaning, and surprisingly, fitness is doing very well, particularly those fitness organizations that can provide individual fitness training. So, transitioning from corporate employee to a business owner. But don't assume, as I've touched on it already, that you have to step away from corporate life to business ownership. I mentioned to you 2 clients. I actually have a number of other clients that are in due diligence with a number of franchises now. And 3 of them have already moved corporate positions, but they're continuing to do their due diligence with opening franchises because they recognize at their point in life, it's time to have some control over the future. So the time to look at opportunity is now, before layoffs happen. Life is expensive, even more so when your income stops. And I've got some clients in that situation right now. So semi-absentee ownership can help you transition easier. I've got another client that purchased a franchise, a payroll franchise, and he's actually now looking to purchase a second franchise in a cost reduction area. And he actually is still employed by corporate America. It takes between 4 to 7 months to finalize the purchase of a franchise. It's not an overnight situation, and there's no cost to you until you make the decision to go with it. And what I do, we do, is we help you through that process. This is not a sales process. This is very much a situation where we help our clients find the right thing to do for the future. Retirement account balances are at an all-time high. So will they stay there? Now's the time to invest, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. So what's the value of being a franchise owner? Well, not only it's the leadership and the experience they have and bringing in executives who've got leadership skills. It's the business intelligence, being ahead of the curve all times. It's the training and ongoing support. Because remember, a franchisor is actually generating an income from the franchisee in terms of a royalty. There's ongoing development, and there's brand marketing, there's technology, and of course you've got other franchisees in the group and share successes and avoid some of the pitfalls that might occur. So there's always a feeling of fear. It's normal and not always a bad thing. Learning about brands and models helps move you forward. Knowledge helps you overcome fear. Look for franchisors who award brands, not just selling to anyone. And that's what I do, or we do for that matter, is we cut out a lot of the noise and we help our clients move forward without there being the pressure from the franchisor. This is how the process works. We start out with a confidential questionnaire, which takes approximately half an hour to complete. And then there's a consultation when we go over specific brands that we think might fit. I prepare a business model for my clients, and then we present franchise options, usually over a Zoom call, and that takes about an hour. And following that, the client reviews additional information that I provide, and then assuming that they like a couple out of the 5 or 6 I present, I then arrange for them to talk to the franchisor for an initial call. But I stay with them throughout the process with regular weekly reviews. So let's look at financing. Number one, of course, is cash. And then, of course, there are loans, secured and unsecured, and there's the SBA, Small Business Administration. This is supported by the government. And right now, there's some really big incentives to finance in that manner. Then we have ROBS. Now, you might ask, well, what is ROBS? It's a rollover as a business startup, and it involves 401ks, and IRAs. So in other words, you can use that to invest in your business. So instead of that 401k being invested in a myriad of organizations, you can actually have part of that invested in your business, because it is your business, even though there's a trading name of the franchisor. It is your business. At some stage in the future, you may want to sell that business. So what does that do for you? Well, it minimizes debt, it improves cash flow, it stimulates business growth. You build equity in your business, not someone else's. So with potential for inflation and all the other things going with that, you're using your 401k or IRA to help your business. And you also take full advantage of the tax benefits. So when you use a 401k to finance your business, the 401k is the investor, but there are no penalties for transitioning to a Rob's type situation or rollover. And then there's collateralized lines where, for example, you might want to use your property as a method to finance a deal. Then there's leasing for equipment, vehicles, etc. And then there are grants. So those are some of the things you want to be thinking about. So when you look at the consultant, what do you look for? Determine the level of franchise experience your consultant has. And as I said earlier on, this is not a sales process. Determine the reputation of your consultant. The right one will never rush you. Proven results. You don't want a consultant that simply tells you what you want to hear. And that's not what we do. They are a sounding board. Buying a business is scary, and a franchise consultant makes it easier for you. As I said earlier on, I cut out a lot of the noise and the minutiae that might be there. So why work with me? Well, over 30 years of leading domestic and international businesses, extensive experience operating multi-locations, 13 years helping individuals find alternative business opportunities to corporate employment. And this comes throughout the process. I've had clients go all the way to a discovery day. They fell in love with the brand, met the people running the franchise, and came back and said, you know, John, I don't like them. So my response to that is pretty simple. Would you marry someone you didn't like? And that usually means we go on and start all over. So my services, as I've said already, there's no cost to you. So here's my contact information, my own website, and then my email with the franchise consulting company. And so that really brings us to the end of the presentation. Any questions? No? Okay, fair enough. There are no questions. I'll bring the meeting to a close. Oh, I see a question above. Okay, if I start out as a semi-absentee owner, may I end up being a full-time if I leave corporate America? Absolutely. That is usually what we see happen, and that is what the clients I have are doing right now. Does the SBA, next question, have any promotions now? Last year they advertised several. Yes, there is a promotion right now. And the government is picking up the tab for not only the principal, but also the interest until the end of September and their initial fees. Next question, how easy is it to borrow from my 401k to buy a franchise? Well, it takes a few weeks for it to go through. And another point, I've got a client right now that is using his 401k to speed up the process, but he's actually going to go for an SBA loan and then can put his 401k funds back into where they were. So any additional questions? I hope I've answered yours. Okay, good. I'm happy to answer any additional questions about the 401k or SBA, but it's not a difficult process. If you'd like to talk to me, just shoot me an email or give me a call and we can have a direct discussion. Okay. All right. Well, if there's no additional questions, I'll bring the meeting to a close. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to talking with you soon.